In this episode, we're going to give you a little bit of an update on how we've just lost our dream farmhouse in Italy. And we're going to dive into the topic of inheritance laws in Italy and the impact of family when you buy a house.
Welcome to our channel. We're Fee and Owen, a couple from Australia who decide to follow our hearts and start a new life in beautiful Piemonte, Italy.
So for those of you who've been following our story, you'd have known that we moved to Italy in September and we've looked around about 50 farmhouses to buy. Our dream is to buy a beautiful farmhouse in Italy, one that's quite old and traditional, and to restore it. This has been quite a lengthy process so far, and we looked at, as I said, about 50 houses, and we fell in love with two, and those two have now broken our hearts. This most recent one that we fell in love with, we did put an offer on in, I think it was like around the end of February, and our offer was accepted. But what we find over here in Italy is that the process of making an offer, drawing up the contract, and then signing the contract is actually quite different to what we're used to in Australia. And it was quite a lengthy process. So it was about nearly 3 to 4 months later, we got the news that the owners have decided not to sell the property to us. So as you can imagine, we're quite brokenhearted and we are now back out on the hunt for the next property to fall in love with. The good news is that we've actually now moved to the area. So the search for a farmhouse should be a bit easier. We're living in beautiful Costiolo di Asti, which is in the region that we want to live. So we're actually living the beautiful life already, and now we just have to find that dream house. So stay tuned as we will start to share with you this journey once again of the big hunt that we're on. We've learned a lot though in these last few months with trying to buy our farmhouse. And one of the things that we did discover was the whole issue of inheritance laws in Italy. So for those of you who are interested in buying a house in Italy, we highly recommend that you do understand the inheritance laws. So I'll just give it to you in a nutshell. This is a very short cut down version. The inheritance laws in Italy is this. When a parent dies in Italy and they own a property and there's still one parent alive, that other parent or partner will inherit 30% of that property. The remaining 70% of that property will be divided equally between the children. So if there's 3 children, they will get a portion of that 70% each. If there's 2 children, they will get, let's say, 35% of that 70% each. And the remaining parent will get 30%. They also get lifetime rights to that property. So even if the children own more of the property than the surviving parent, they can't kick them out. So that's the law in a nutshell. Now, when the second parent dies, so there's no more parents left for this property, the children will then equally inherit a portion of the house. Now, why is this important to know? And how did that impact us when we tried to buy our dream house in San Marzano? Well, what that means is that each child who has inherited that portion of the property needs to sign off that they agree to the sale of the house. So if there's 4 children, like in our situation, that inherited the property, they all need to agree to sell the house. So if 3 do and 1 don't, you've got a problem. And we kind of think that maybe is what happened in our situation. So inheritance laws and family have a big impact when you try and buy a house in Italy. The other thing that we really noticed in Italy is that they don't sell the house as in like it's a transaction. In Australia, it was very simple. You find a house, you make an offer, they sign the offer, and a few weeks later, the house is yours. It's very transactional. Over here, because houses are passed down through generation to generation to generation, they see it as part of their family. They don't see it as a transaction. They feel as if they're actually selling you part of their history, part of their family story. So it's very sentimental, the sale. It's not transactional. Therefore, sometimes they find it very difficult to sell the house, to let it go, to let the memories go. And that is also why sometimes a house can actually be really expensive and you don't understand why. You're like, why is that house so expensive for this location or the condition it's in? Usually it's because there's some sentimental value that has been added to the cost by the family. So what's our advice? What's our lessons here? Our lessons is it takes time to buy a house in Italy. It's not a simple process. And there's lots of sentimental family impacts when you buy a house here. So, oh, that was a bug. That was a big bug. So for us, our search continues. We're not going to give up. We're still going to try. We're here. We're loving our new life. And stay tuned as we share more of our story with you and our great search for our dream farmhouse. Ciao for now.